Okay, so welcome to Photoshop. This is how I have mine set up. You might have yours different. That's fine. Everybody likes likes their Photoshop look in a different way for whatever is best for their sort of workflow. But over here I have my navigator, and then below that is the history box, and then I have all my layers set up over here. In fact, I could probably make that a little bit smaller. And then my toolbar is set up right here. Oh my goodness. Set up there. Now, in order to change all of this, you can go to Window and click on what you'd like. So if I don't want history, I just unclick that and it's gone. But I kind of like history, so I'm going to keep it. That's my undo button. I don't do the Control Alt Z or whatever it is, because in Photoshop you can only Control Z once. You Control Z multiple times, it just flips between it. But if you hit Command Alt Z, I think you can keep going back. Yep, it's Command Alt Z or Control Alt Z if you're on Windows. So there's tip number one. In order to control or to Control Z multiple times, you have to hit the Alt in between, and then it'll go. Or you can just use the history bar. Whoops, that's a horrible arrow over here. But first, before you start out, before you even touch your pen to canvas, there's a couple things you might want to optimize to make this a little bit easier for you, because this whole program is really unintuitive if you are new to it, and if you don't have it optimized the way that you want, really. So there's something that we're going to turn off for first, and I think it's in. If you go to edit preferences, I think. Where is it? Maybe it's not here. It should be in edit preferences. Presets? I don't remember what it is. Okay, so we're gonna skip that because I don't see it here, so that's fine. But the biggest help in Photoshop is knowing your buttons and your hotkeys and your shortcuts. So we're gonna start, and we're gonna start to optimize some shortcuts here. Mine popped up in the wrong window. That's fine. You want to go down to Tools. This is where all your hotkeys are. So the biggest one that I should probably fix or need to fix is the brush shape, which is the brackets. Let me find it. Here we go. Decrease brush size. So there are the brackets here that you see. That's probably that's just like a classic Photoshop hotkey, and it sucks. Because my hands are always on the Alt key or the Command Z ready to undo something, or Alt to eyedropper for it. So it'd be easier for my hand, instead of going all the way across the keyboard, to just hit, or just to rebind these to, to A and S. And there's something that's already A and S that you should remove, I believe. Maybe not. Maybe you're good. Maybe A and S are free game. But yeah, it's just easier. It's right there. It's not. It'll be way easier just to get there. And after that, hit OK, and then hit A and S, and your brush will increase and decrease. Instead of going to the brackets, which now do nothing. Just kidding, they still do something. Well, that's all right. They both work, but A and S is just way easier to use. And any other keys that you think you want to hotkey, like here we'll go back, edit, keyboard shortcuts. We're already in tools. Like the move tool, V, it's always V. If you want to keep it V, fine. The marquee tool, it's right there, and I can't read it. Is it's M, always M, makes sense. The letters match for that one. Lasso tool, L, that makes sense. Everything else is probably fine. That's just my biggest one. I think it's a little too far away from my actual workspace that we're gonna keep it like that. And then about this, what's this? I don't know what that is. All right. So there you go. Like brush. There's a couple other really short cuts. I is the eyedropper. If you want the brush back, hit B. M is the marquee. I keep doing that. I don't know why. The marquee tool. V is move. Those are probably the biggest ones you're gonna need. So you could play around with that. There's also ways to do it when you're already in here. I'll change my brush to one I actually use. Oops. I use the chalk brush because I like the texture. That texture. It's kind of laggy, but my computer's horrible. It's fine. It doesn't bother me too much. If it does bother you, just turn off what is it? The use graphics processor. And that's what I was trying to find. Edit preferences, performance, uncheck the use graphics processors. But I guess I'm using a really old version of Photoshop, so that's probably just a new thing. But I like that brush because it's got some nice texture. This one's also fine. It's an older version of a chalk brush. I like this one a little bit better. There's a little more character to it. So we'll stick with that. So because I use a brush that has a lot of texture to it, sometimes I get, if you want to like blend something like this. All right, you want to blend this section a little bit better. What you have to do is you hit Alt while you're in your brush, and you can color pick. So you just like that, hit Alt, click on whatever color you want, let go, and then you have that color. So you want some white in there, just click that, a little bit of that. It's great. It's probably one of the best things that I've ever used in Photoshop is just the Alt while in the brush. Oops. Hit the wrong button. Nope, I didn't hit the wrong button. Why is that deleting? Oh God, I messed something up. Whatever, we'll just erase it. Oh, because I'm on the background, that's why. Always make a new layer before you do anything. Also, I like to make my canvas darker while I start out, and how I do that is another really shortcut, yep, is you hit Control U, or if you're a Mac, Command U, and then you can just bring that darkness down. So Command U will bring up the hue, saturation, and brightness, which is really helpful because I'm pretty bad at picking colors. So this one will let you just pick the perfect color, and I'll explain and show that a little bit later. And then make sure you're on that layer. All right. So a couple more shortcuts. Let's see here. We'll actually go to something that has something on it, and we'll make a new layer quick. And we'll go to the line layer. There's a lot here, don't worry about it. It's just don't worry about it. So if you want to copy a new layer, say you're trying to, you like that face, but you want to try maybe another face or whatever. What I would suggest doing is hit Command J. So what Command J does is it will copy the layer that you're on. So there's now 2 versions of that line layer. You have them both on, it looks kind of screwy because it's like slightly skewed, but that's okay. So, and then just turn off the regular one. You'll always have a copy of it. And then you can do whatever in the world you want to do to that one because it's just a copy of it. You know, you can, it doesn't matter how that one turns out. You'll always have the original. So Command J to copy a layer. Oh, I went back too far. There we go. I was like, what happened to it? So Command J will copy a layer. And then if you want to move, or if you want like a perfect mirror of that layer, you go onto the layer you want to copy, you hit the move tool, and then you hit Alt. You click on Alt, and it'll just, you can pull it right off. Another perfect copy of that layer that you had selected. And if you want to do whatever, flip it, put your thing down, flip it, and reverse it. You can have like a mirrored kind of thing. I think it's a little wide. There we go. It's a little narrow, but you know, it's a nice little mirror of it. Don't want to keep that because that'd be crazy. So again, move tool, Alt, and then just drag it over, and it'll make another copy. See, line copy 2. It'll just make another copy that way too. If you just want, I mean, if you want to move it to a different place, but Command J and Alt click will get you the same results in this case. That brush smaller. I don't know why that purple's so light. All right. What else? What else? Okay, so another tip. Anytime you do, I know this is very scrambled. I'm so sorry. But anytime you, okay, let's just get into, let's try to fill this. Let's try to fill what we got going on. So I have my wings and my line are on 2 different layers. So if I try to fill this, it'll fill the whole thing because there's pieces missing here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to combine the layers. So I'll just make another copy of that so I don't mess anything up. And then turn off all the other layers. And what you do here is you hit Shift Control E, and that'll combine all the visible layers. So now my wings and the body are on the same layer, which is great, which is really great for this next part. I'm going to show you how to fill, really easy. It's going to save your life. You're going to thank me immensely for it. So just select the areas around your character that you want. Oh, you have to shift click when you want to select multiple things. I forgot. You select around the areas that you want filled. Get that little bit in there. I think that's most of it. And you want to come up here to select, modify, and nope, you want to invert it first. Hold on. Select and modify. Shoot. Oh, inverse. Shift Command I is the shortcut keyboard for it. So you come over here, Shift Command I will invert the selection. So now you see you don't have those marching ants around the border of this canvas. It's now only around my Aasimar cleric. That's the only parts that are selected. And now, if you here, we'll zoom in a little bit too so you can see this take effect on the lines. Oh, I forgot to select in there. That's okay, I'll figure that out later. So you want to go to select, modify, and contract, I believe. And we'll say 3 pixels is fine. And now you see that the selection is actually into the line a little bit. If you had filled just regularly, there would have been a little bit of fallout on the outsides of the edges. So now we can fill it. And we'll fill it blue because Kashvi's blue. I always fill really dark. My masks are always really dark because I like to paint in the lights instead of the shadows. It's just way easier. And then to fill it, you can either go to Edit, Fill, or I have my shortcut keyboard, or my keyboard shortcut is Shift F5. And that'll bring up this. Make sure your foreground color, this is the first one here. And then you click, use foreground color, 100% opacity, that's fine. Normal mode, also fine. And then you just hit OK. And you make sure that that is, you make another layer before you do that, actually. See, I'm glad I'm doing this live so you can, make sure you use another layer because that was stupid of me. And then put it below the line, of course. And then you can do the minus Shift F5. I think they're all Shift F5 because I don't believe I've changed any of that. And there you go. Easy fill. And of course I missed a spot, but I'll just fix that manually because that's gonna take me 4.5 seconds. Instead of coloring this whole thing by hand, you just fill it real easy. There you go. There's a couple areas where it came in a little tight, but I mean, it's way better than having to color this all by hand. Short little detailed things and whatnot. Alright, let's go into layer organization and optimization. Layers are your friend. They really are. Every time you want to do something new or move to a new area on the character, make a new layer for it. You can see over here, I have my wings line, and then, here, I'll turn this off. Whoops. So Kashvi was originally supposed to be in color, but I ended up just liking the line art of it, so I just stopped. But there was supposed to be more, and it was supposed to look better. So my wing layer, oops, here we go. My wing layer and my wing mask are on separate layers, of course. And then I was going to do all of these over top of it. So maybe the wings weren't a great example. Oops, keep those up. What I'll do is go to the mask. So that was my body mask for Kashvi. And then all of these things above it. What are these? What the heck is this? This is called the clipping mask. And what it does is it allows you to draw right on top of that mask without going over the confines of it. So I'll show you. I'll unclip this one. We'll do leather. Unclip that one. See, now it looks ridiculous, right? Because I just like scribbled all over it. And that's because I can with a clipping mask. So what a clipping mask does is it makes everything only apply to the layer it's clipped back to. And because everything's clipped back to the original mask, none of it will overflow into the rest of the canvas. Alright, we'll show you here. I don't know what this is, probably her hair. Oh, clip. Yeah, it is. See, I literally just colored over it. I was careful around the inside edges because I knew that was part of the mask, but the outside I went crazy because I could have, and I knew that I could have. So how you make a clipping mask here, we'll delete that layer. Nope, we'll delete that layer. Yes. And we'll just do it. We'll do it live. We'll do it live. So I just made this layer because I forgot to delete it instead of I made a new one. So what you do is you hit Alt and then you click between the two layers and it makes a clipping mask. And so we can go in and just color wherever we want to. Look at that. It won't even get on the canvas. This is amazing and incredible, and if you're an artist who's using Photoshop and you're not using this, and because it's on another layer, if you go over, just erase it. Look at that. Always, always, always have a new layer for different parts and pieces of your character because it just makes it so much easier. Be a little careful here. The brush is huge. The brush is way too big for that. But like literally, I can color wherever I want to, and nothing's gonna happen so long as it's not on or clipped onto the original mask. There you go. She looks crazy. She looks crazy, but she looks even crazier when you unclip it. Clipping masks are huge. Of course, I deleted that layer, so I'll have to fix it. I won't save this. It doesn't matter. All right. Okay. Just looking over my notes. I want to make sure I don't miss anything. We talked about clipping masks and everything. Clipping masks are huge. Just make a new layer. Every time you want to do something new, just make a new layer. That's my tip. It doesn't matter how many you have. It's Photoshop. And always make sure you name them, especially like if you have a bunch, as many as I do. Of course, I have all of my masks, and then everything on top of it is just named what it is, except for these ones because they're new. That one too was also new, but line copy, wings mask. Just make sure you name all your stuff and keep it organized in some kind of intelligent way, whatever way works for you, of course. All right. Let's talk about how to place a reference. We'll just go back to this unused one. So I work out of my sketchbook a lot. And sometimes I really like the sketches and I wanna refine them further. But I mean, I don't always have access to a scanner or whatever, and scanning them in just takes way longer anyway. So just take a picture on your phone, whatever, email it to yourself, put it in Google Drive, whatever. I usually use Google Drive because it's optimized on both my phone and my computer. So I think I have a shot of Kali that we can do that was from my sketchbook. I do. Okay, so we'll go to, so just placing a reference or a sketch that you've done from your sketchbook or wherever. Just go to Image, File, Place. And then it'll bring up, hey, what you want to place? And I have her in D&D because she's one of my D&D characters. And all my players don't look. There's sensitive information here. I had it. I didn't name it, so it's just crazy. There's a bunch of numbers and the date and stuff. Shoot! Where is it? There it is. Alright. And then you hit place once you find what you're looking for. And see, it just makes it really nice. And you can resize it however you want. But when you do, just hit enter, and it'll make it on a new layer. It'll make it on a reference layer. And then you can just click a new layer, probably name it line. Nope. Elkine. L-I-N. Oh my gosh. There we go. And then you could just get to work. You could start refining the edges here, and I actually think I used this brush to begin. I love this brush so much. And then you just start, going in, making things look more pronounced. Like for this, I knew I wanted to do a really comic booky style like I did for Kashfi. All my D&D characters have names that start with K. I'm just kidding, these are the only two. You just go in and start working on it. It's a really easy way to place references, or you can go and open it and whatnot, but then you have to like, whoops. Then um, you have to like drag it over, and it's just weird. So just image place, put it exactly where you want to, and you don't have to rasterize it or anything. It's just there, and you can start working on it. That's probably the easiest way to get a reference in. Even if you want a reference from the interweb, you can do it the same way. Take a screenshot of it, or even off your phone, and just place it in just like that. So again, that's edit, place, and it'll bring up the file menu, so you can just select what you'd like. All right. Talked about that, my how to make a mask, how to make a new layer. Just Command J, you'll make a layer. Oh, sorry. Command J. It'll make a layer of the same thing that you had selected. So if you don't want anything selected and you hit Command J, will it work? No, it won't work. Okay, so it just copies your layer. Delete that shit. Okay, all right. I have another trick that I would like to show you. This one's for perspective. I know perspective sucks. It really does. Nobody really, like, there's people who, like, mastered it, but they are insane. They're geniuses, and I worship them. But here's a really easy trick to put down a perspective grid, so you have, like, a little reference or a little benchmark while you draw, if you want to draw something like a big piece. I think I used it for the Laura Croft one where she's in the tree. I think I made it for that. Okay, so you want to go to your little polygon menu here. Oh my god, why isn't it bringing it up? And you want to go to polygon tool. Make sure it has to be polygon tool. And you want to set fill to nothing, and you want your stroke whatever color you want to put it. I usually make it like red, green. Oh, sorry, that doesn't matter. I usually make it the CMYK colors, I'm sorry, or the RGB or whatever. I make it like green, blue, and then the magenta. It just keeps me aware of which axis is which. And then make sure this is a solid line. You don't want dotted, that's weird. We'll just make this as close to, we'll do one. 1 pixel. Nope. There, that's fine. I don't need that. And then you want to go over to this gear. The gear is the important part. And you want to make sure you have star clicked. Indent sides by 99%. And then I believe the radius is yeah, I think the radius is 100. And then hit enter. And then when you pull that polygon tool, just kidding, I did something incorrect. What did I do? What did I do? Oh no. Polygon tool. Oh, set this to 1. BD. Okay, I guess. Nope. Okay. Okay. I don't know why it's not making it larger than 4.5 pixels. I think I did something wrong. Okay. Go back to the gear. Sides. Oh. This, I think it does it. It doesn't matter. This is 99, sides 100. And now can I do it? Yeah! I did it! Alright. So if you want like a okay, so for the Laura Croft piece, I had a different kind of canvas, but I knew I wanted to do an up angle, really high up angle. So what I did is I think I put one way down here. And then what you can do is you hit that tricky, or that little Alt. Oh, you have to hit Enter and make sure that's on. It's all set. And then you hit Alt, and then you can drag it over, and you have literally another one right there. And then let's go for one more. Alt click. I wanted a really high. I think it's called a nadir point. And this was something like the perspective I used for it. And you can just put them everywhere and make your own perspective grid, and everything is fine. That's a really, really lovely trick that everybody should be using. Every artist in the world should be using it. And then if you want to get rid of all of this, just put it on a new layer and it's nice and clean. But yeah, that's the advanced tip for the day, and I think I'm going to leave it there for now. If any questions, please let me know. This was a lot, and it was confusing. Just make sure you get your hotkeys set to what's comfortable for you. Remember your shortcuts. We'll go over those again. So to make a new layer, it's Command J. It'll copy the same thing. See, I've got that. Nope. Oh, that was a copy to blank layer, of course. So Command J. What else was there? Oh my gosh. Oh, to fill it, for me at least, it's Shift F5. I think that's how it is for all of Photoshop after you do your selection and inverse selection. Shift F5. Alt click will bring up, oh, if you have to be on the brush, I'm sorry. Alt click will bring the eyedropper, and then you can draw whatever you like. Alt click will select that color. And then Command U will bring up the hue, saturation, and lightness. Here, I'll show you how that works. So we'll go over to Kashfi again, and we'll turn off everything and turn back on just her mask. And so say you're like, okay, this color is alright, but it's not perfect. Just hit Command U. Nope, make sure, okay, I was on the wrong layer. Make sure you're on the layer, and then hit Command U, and it'll bring up the hue, saturation, and brightness. So say you want to push this, okay, so your background is a little more red. You want to push it a little more toward red, and oh, she's in the dark a bit, but I still want it to be really saturated. That's it. You can pick whatever color you think suits it, and it's the best, and I wouldn't know how to use colors without this specifically. You can make it really saturated or really desaturated and really dark or really light. Wow, that looks really cool. I should have made it white. Man, that's okay. It's fine the way it was. So that's one of my favorite tools and tricks is the color, brightness, saturation. Just hit Control U. I'm sorry, I'm speaking in Mac because I have a Mac. Command U, Control U, same thing. Yep, placing references, just go to Edit Place and then pick whichever file you want. That perspective trick, we'll go over that here. We'll turn those all off and go over it one more time. One more time. Alright, so polygon, make sure polygon's fill to nothing, stroke, whatever color you please. Go over to the gear. Ignore this because it messes you up. Make sure star is selected and indent sides 99% and then sides 100, and then you just click and pull. It's as big as you want it, and then you can move it around. Whoops. Another one. You can move it around to wherever you need it to go. So you can do perfect 1-point perspective, or even, oops, I messed up. Make sure that's on. Yep. Oh, perfect 2-point perspective, or even a 3-point perspective. Look at that. It's so easy. It's so easy. And then you go to a new layer. Fixed it. Make it all clean. And then you have a perfect 2-point perspective grid. Alright, I think that's all for now. We'll get into
different stuff, more art stuff next time, but that's just some tips and tricks for Photoshop that everybody should be implementing because they're important. There you go. Oh, well, there you go.